Today is the 27th July 2026. I'm doing another practice of executing on a plan. This time I want to try out how it feels to a little bit more unprepared do this drawing format that I did the last time. I want to see how I might struggle with drawing live in a video and like accommodating what I'm talking about a little bit with drawing and with a live drawn visual assistance. I just want to see kind of where it might feel uncomfortable or not, or like where's the low bar of like this kind of format. And the topic today, I would just want to reflect. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. I just want to reflect on how these practices are going. So what is wrong? This is wrong. This is also wrong. We're also on the wrong. I haven't prepared this as it seems. So I want to reflect on how these, my practices are going with like the planning and stuff like that. So what have I done? I think I'm doing this now for a week, something like that. So I've switched. Before I have done videos like every day. So I went from, that's a little bit too big. That is a little bit too big. I went from daily practices. I went to second day practices. And so now what I'm doing is on one day I plan. So I plan and then I record. Today is kind of an exception because I didn't have a lot to plan today. So I just immediately said, okay, let's just do a video because I actually wanted to try out this format before I get into planning around it to see where I stumble, like what would be an issue for me and where it feels bad and where it even might look bad. It's not that much of the concern right now. More so where I just feel bad, where just everything slows down because I can't kind of continue with the drawing, but I'm just not sure what to draw. And it's where I might just be very blank and quiet while I draw stuff, which probably is awkward to watch when I just have too long pauses and I can't do talking and drawing at the same time, which like now doesn't have to be all the time, but I think I think this format falls flat if I'm drawing too much. It doesn't say much on its own and I can talk with it. And like the purpose right now is a little bit to just see where might this start. Having a very unprepared video topic and trying to plan to it. So that's what I'm doing today. So for the practices that we have done so far in the last week, I started, my main purpose was not just to start with the planning and get a little bit into that, but the issue there is then of course, well, what do I even plan? And that's kind of what at least this week and a little bit more is like about. It's very much about what should I plan. So I'm more so trying to just experiment with what I'm trying out. So what even to think about. What even to think about. So I'm trying every day with the planning. I try to think about something else, to do something else. So that's why I'm very experimental with like the format currently, because I'm thinking about, okay, how can I plan it? I started more with I tried a presentation style, but it didn't felt that nice. I mean, one of the issues was it was very disconnected. Like I tried to prepare some images that I would have on my screen as like a reference, and then I would edit it in afterwards into the video. So that was just disconnected from what I would see as my reference and what then directly it would be in the video. There was a disconnection, just felt very presentation style, and it was not. I did it on the next day, and from planning on Monday I was into the preparation of what I wanted to say and what I wanted to talk about. And the next day I didn't do a lot of preparation before that because, well, these practices are not about that. So I kind of was not immersed in the topic, and so I didn't even know in sometimes what I actually planned to do. So I couldn't execute on the plan because I was just not immersed in the topic, which was a bad thing. So there were issues from the separation of the planning, where you have the plan and the execution. And the execution, this is where that issue came from quite a bit, and I have to be careful of that. I think in the future, that's one of the things that I've learned from doing this. If I have a very structured and more detailed plan, it's an issue if I forget or if I lose the context too much when I try to execute it. So ideally they are more connected. If I want to save time, I have to do them ideally on the same day, or add some more time in before I do the recording. That's one of the things that I learned. And one of the issues that I had with the more presentation style video, which was very structured, or was at least planned to be very structured. And yeah, so this is like more than the attempt to, have a visual representation. This is how I started first. Let's just go a little bit more back. I started first with physical notes. I started with like paper, because I'm also doing the documentation of these practices. I'm doing them on paper, so they just feel a little bit more memorizable and just a little bit more grounded and a little bit more real than doing any kind of documentation in like a Word document or something like that. And so I do this on paper, but doing and then I tried to incorporate the notes, like the structured plan that I set on paper. I try to incorporate them into the videos, like when I execute on them. Why did I try to do that? So that I didn't have as much pressure that I need to just perform and just present the structure, and don't have any issue in talking about or looking at it or something like that, so that I can just in a raw edited form incorporate them. So I wanted to incorporate that I have notes, that I have a structure prepared, that I'm working with something here that I'm talking about. So I kind of wanted to bring them into the video, so that it's not so that the viewer can just experience, I have notes and I work with them, experience them, and here they're also shown. And with that, maybe they can also be a visual guide and helper for the viewer, so that they don't have as many issues following me, and it's not as awkward if I might want to reference or look at the notes, because if I had just have it like here on the desk, which I mostly have, you can see this, what I'm doing here with my hand below me. You can see what I have here. So I have like a lot of times I have my notes, and they're lying here on the table, but you can see this. So if I look down here, it's a little bit awkward and stuff like that. So to try to remove a little bit of this and remove like the pressure and the expectation on myself to not be as expecting that I need to have like a really good performance and I need to be smooth and stuff like that. I tried to incorporate the notes a little bit more into my talking, and so I wanted to incorporate the paper into the video. And on one side, that didn't work that well. I tried it even with the cards. I had like where are they? Doesn't matter. I had just little cards to like where I say, this is now the section of A, B, C, and D, and I just point them up, and you could see, now it's a reference to like the note, and then I would use the backside, which didn't work. I didn't prepare it well enough, and I'm also in the long term not really looking forward to like doing like notes and things that I bring into the video physically on paper. I don't like to work that much with paper and have to like stick with that, so I kind of want to transition away from that anyway. So that's why I'm trying to bring the paper notes into like a virtual way. That's kind of what I just tried. And then we came to like the presentation style video, that was again, which has like the separation issue, and also was just a little bit too much planned without being too immersed in it, and it just felt a lot more like presentation and stiff, and not as real. I very enjoy currently doing more of these freeform videos. They're also long term, which would like to work. I don't know if they will work, but I would like them to work. And So I'm trying it to be able to do these videos and talk about things kind of very freely, like in a very raw and just authentic and just spontaneous format. They also provide a lot less effort. I mean, a lot less effort is good to say, because I put a lot of practice beforehand into setting them up, not just the individual videos, but also the format. It's more a lot of preparation to the format, not into the single video, which I think might be a differentiation between like what I think about low effort video, where I don't put a lot of time into one videos, but I put a lot of time into, well, how can I make this style work, and how can I just practice my skills so that I'm able to make a good enough video with just not a lot of time on one video, and how can I just record one video in one take and be that good enough. So I need to practice that a lot, so I have to put a lot of the time in general, and not for one video. I want to have a video on a low cost of time, but will increase it in general over then more so the preparation for the format. That's what I would like to go towards, and which I'm aiming at. So, and for that, I'm now trying to incorporate the notes into a virtual format, and the presentations I failed. I try this more so now drawing style, where it's very free form. I think in this video it hasn't worked that well. Writing is not the best way to use this format. That's where I'm already feeling like it breaks a little bit down. I'm not sure how nice to look at this that is. I'm also now, the talking head style here is now just really small. I'm just like this tiny box on the screen. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's where we are. Where do I want to go from here? Let's just finish with this. Where do I want to go from here? So what is next? Next, I want to try out a little bit more of this drawing. So I want to just like draw a little bit more on like my screen. That was decent. I want to try a little bit more of the drawing, because I think it's fun, and especially if maybe I can do it a little bit more, I can get a little bit of practice in it, and I can be a little bit more better. Also, in just how do I use the drawing on the screen, and with that, how do I like talk? That's not a nice human. Let's do it this way. How do I talk with like my hands on like screen? How can I have this a little bit like interchanged here in like real time, stuff like that, like I'm doing right now? How can I like focus a little bit on camera? How can I do the drawing stuff like that? Would be something that I would have to look at, that I would have to find what is like the best way of doing. And but also, of course, well, I might have to just practice a little bit. But how can I express what I'm talking about a little bit in drawing while I'm talking? Would be for such a format important. I don't know how far I would like to go with this format much, but it's something that I could play with. Another direction, of course, then is a little bit more of gaming, which this is not a game controller. Was my attempt on a game controller. Didn't really work, but yeah, games. So not necessarily playing games, but again, game development. Trying to go a little bit into that, going a little bit into just that direction, into that format of then doing a screen share where I'm on the right and I have some windows and I do stuff here, and I do it in kind of in the wave format here, and just have some projects, show something, try out with different formats of what if I record while I'm doing stuff, or doing more like a summary log style of video like this. I could try formats of that format. So these are directions that I could go in, formats that I can go in. That's currently where I'm heading at, what I think, what I have in mind. And I think in general it works. It's going quite well. I'm making progress. Also, I have to expand more so on like the idea. I can't do this here. How am I doing this? Is this a light bulb? I don't know. Maybe it is the idea of just trying to experiment more with what angles can I take on planning? How can I plan things? To not try to not fall like, into having a too fixed structure on how I plan things, but still being more on the experimental side and just trying things out, seeing what works, what doesn't. Where can I expand? I think right now it's more important that I expand thinking about planning and just having fun with it also, finding the fun in this and being experimental, which I so far enjoyed and I think is a good direction to keep going in. So that's where this is at and where it's going. I hope you have a very nice day. I forgot to put my thing on and yeah, alright. You couldn't see the drawing that I made here. Perfect.